Uh, First speaker is Mr. Rao. Uh, to briefly introduce him, he is BTech Chemical Engineering from Osmania University, Hyderabad, MBA from IGNOU, New Delhi. He worked in operations, different assets and plants of ONGC. He has experience in carrying out workover operations, process plant operations, turnaround, troubleshooting, debottlenecking of assets, and unique experience of working in both major plants of ONGC, Uran and Hajra. And he is currently heading operations, and he is also factory manager for ONGC Hajra plant. Vast experience of 32 years, and carried out many external safety audits of Kane Oil and Gas, Vedanta, Surat plant as OSD team member. He is also quality manager, and he has also conducted several accident investigations. So welcome, Mr. Rao.
So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm, as told, the head operations. I have 32 years of experience and only in operations. I have never worked in the safety department, yet I'm here today to talk about the process safety that we have implemented in Hazira plant. I've taken it as, okay. I titled it, can I get it here also, please? So I don't have to turn back. So, gas processing, effectuating safety. What do I mean by effectuating? How it is put into effect and how we want to make it effective. That was the idea behind this. So I termed this as effectuating. Here we are among illustrious and gathering. We have dignitaries, we have delegates. We all are here together to make a difference. The theme here is how we shall improve the process safety and how we will achieve the next generation safety excellence. I would like to see all of us contributing towards that transformation which is required. As I told you, I'm from Hazira plant. In Hazira plant, we are processing these days around 28 million standard cubic meter per day. That amounts to around 38% of our country's production. So it's a very important installation to that extent with regard to the numbers that we are facing. And we also process the condensate that comes along with it. I'll just introduce about the installations that we have to have an idea of the safety and the risks. We have so many number of units. We have gas sweetening units. We have condensate fractionating units, LPG unit. We have NGL fractionating units. And we have also power plants along with their steam generating units. This is the process flow. I'm just skipping it. I'm just going into this. These are the storages that are there. So we have the storages for naphtha, LPG. We have hot and spheres, fixed roof, and floating roof tanks. And this product distribution, sales and distribution network also we have. We have the pipeline transfer mode, the road loading, and the rail loading. All this together sum up the entire situation which we have here with respect to what we are looking at for safety, process safety. So then for such kind of a plant, as is the practice in the industry, you have a basic philosophy how you implement that systems. Here you have the basic process design which has been scrutinized through hazard and operability studies, QRA, and PSM. The process safety management is intended to prevent process-related hazard event. That is the basic purpose why we would like to have this in place. The systems installed and practiced, they aim to mitigate the risks that are associated with the hazards. And compliance to legislation standards and codes, this also come inherently along with it. What are the hazards? These are the hazards that we have listed there. I mean, they're all very obvious, so I'm just skipping through because of paucity of time. I'll be coming to, these are, I think, common to most of the gas processing plants, so you will understand. Here, I would like to emphasize the gas explosion, vapor cloud explosion, and all this are very inherent and very typical in our gas processing installations. And these require a lot of attention. And of course, others are also there, the liquid pool fire, jet fires, hydrocarbon spillage. All these are the major hazards that were identified, which are being managed. So I will just run through these slides, their standards. What are the safety systems that are in place? Inherently, you will have primary level, you will have controls, you will have ESDs, you will have UPS, you will have closed fire, flare, discharge to flare, no hydrocarbon is released to the atmospheres. Then we have other systems like gaseous suppression, smoke detectors, all these are there. We have emergency preparedness. We have 2 manned fire stations at opposite ends that can take care of different wind situations or which kind of approach is required for any emergency situation. Fire water system is designed to fight 2 major fires, 8 triple F fires, and we have all this installation and training systems, portable fire extinguishers, all these are standard, I'm just moving. And we have mutual aid agreements with our neighboring industry. We have a number of big industries around us, and we have also we carry out on-site and off-site drills. Off-site drills also involve those mutual aid partners. Then we have the procedures in place. These are known to everybody. I'm skipping this. Then we have the practices. All this we have talked about a lot. I'm skipping it because I emphasize something more on my topic. And then the performance and checks, what the management has to do, loss control tools, planned general inspection, safety self-audit, hygiene audit, leading, lagging KPIs. All these are a part of our safety management system. Then asset integrity is very important. Today morning we have seen the units that are older than 30 years. More than 65% of the accidents are taking place. Our Hazira plant is also more than 30 years old. So we have to now pay a lot of emphasis on the integrity part. So we have a number of systems that we are working upon, and what we do for the asset integrity are listed here. Now, what we have to see, we have implemented system, there is a plant, and it's a continuous process. Safety, as you said, there is no end to it. You have a PDC approach, perhaps. We plan, we do, we check, and we act. And this is a process, it's a cycle, and it keeps repeating. The plant had initially come up with a certain setup, and over the period, it has improved. There are challenges in a brownfield area, what we call it, to make major changes. So the initial technology installed does put a limitation on how much, to what extent you can do. Yet, Hazira plant, we have, right from the beginning, emphasized that whenever there is an improvement which is required, they have been done earnestly. Now we have done, some of these are common to all the industry, what they have done. Recently, we have accelerated these processes to mitigate the risks by eliminating the risks. Earlier, the system that was in place took acknowledgement of the risks that are in place, and you had the SOPs or those other elements which will take care of the safety management. But now, it was felt, and we all will agree, since a lot of, apart from the systems that we have in place, systems or procedures, it is the culture and behavior also which has a key role. And that is, we all agree, is key to have zero incidents. So then, in that step, it makes it better if you can make it human independent. So for that, if you can improve your system itself to that extent where the human interface is reduced. But here we are talking about the risks. The risks in Hazira, we have, as I told you, the QRA, it has identified the major risks. So hot end spheres were considered the biggest ones. Now we thought that risks should be eliminated, or we were also advised by the audits, so we can change from hot end spheres to mounted bullets. This is on the bigger scale. But now, then even on the smaller scales, some of them which we have listed here, we have very tall structures where many times when you do drills, perhaps the water is not approaching properly. So for that, we have installed this dedicated fire sprinkler systems that will work on them. Then we have high discharge water mist turbine. This is a first of its kind in the country. As I told you, Hazira plant has a unique risk, which is this vapor cloud, or a very large amount of hydrocarbons that can be released. We normally have procedures where we have the systems to cool a system. You know, when you have a gas, that firefighting in a gas scenario is entirely different from what you have in here. So when there is a vapor cloud leakage, this mist generator, it helps not only reduce the element of fire by reducing temperatures or cooling what we are talking about. This dissipates the cloud, and more because it forms a mist and all those drops are captured, and so it will help reduce the chances of it getting ignited. So this is the first of its kind which we have implemented, and it is order is placed, and we will be receiving it in this coming few months. Even Uran plant is ONGC has another Uran plant, which is a gas problem. They are also going for it. This is a very good thing which we can share with others. And we have used the new technologies that are available. And whenever we have upgraded our systems, we always went for the best. It is not just for the sake of doing it or whatever is minimum that is required. We need to do what is the best so that it is able to take care on its own. We should have a proper system that functions with reliability. With this aspect, we need to consider the investment. Many people have talked about investing in safety or investing on firefighting. So investing on safety is definitely prudent and wise, and that is the approach that we are having. So all our systems that we have upgraded, including this closed-loop sampling system. The closed-loop sampling system, since its commissioning in 80s, the sampling of number of LPG units or the LPG samples or all the liquid samples that are taken, you have to release them into the atmosphere. So that the new technologies that came up, we were required to stop those emissions. And for that, we could have done with a simple, the design that has come by the consultants are very simple and they're not so very expensive. But we chose to have the latest design with the best what is available in the market to not only make it, to address that observation which is there, but also make a system which is very easy to operate for the people who are operating it. It is more reliable. And so the idea is you need to work not just for the same, you do it with the purpose of deriving value of it rather than looking at as how much is the minimum expenditure by which you will address this issue. So that was the idea behind all the safety initiatives that we had taken. There were mercaptan storage. We had some mercaptans that used to get small quantity that used to get released, so that has been changed. Then we had the elevated flare. A lot of issues with elevated flare, the maintenance issues used to get dependent on taking the shutdown of the train, of the units, which is definitely a big economic point. So the integrity and the maintenance would have to wait. So now this demountable flares is we are going to replace our existing flare with this system. So there will be two flares. One will be in line and one will be available for maintenance. So this will help us maintain a good and healthy flare system. Then we have implemented recently, I think in the morning, speaker has mentioned about the detect technologies. In a turnaround that is taking place in Hazira plant, we implemented their video analytics. So they have installed cameras in the area where the work is being taken place. Multiple contractors are working in a small area, and there are so many people, and there are so many SIMOP situations. So we got very healthy number of observations coming from there. And all of them were addressed by talking to the contractors in the toolbox talks with their. So this is quite revolutionary, I believe. It was having its limitations to start with, but this is a nascent thing which we are doing it. In future, I believe this is a big value. And it will address a lot of the cultural issues also that were discussed in the morning. And I will also come upon it in a short moment.
Rao sir, another 1 minute, please.
Yeah. So this is the last slide which I have here. So we have talked, in the morning we have talked about the leadership and we have talked about the culture. Yes, my point is also the same. These are the two major and key factors that we need to have in place if we need to go for the excellence that we are talking about. What are we talking about? We are talking about next generation safety excellence. Next generation safety excellence requires inherently the top management drive, and we need to improve the culture. Culture is mainly affected by issues like negligence, carelessness, or ignorance, or these issues can be addressed, I believe, with the digital initiatives that are being thought about. You see, when you have improper controls, as you term it, what would be the reason? You will be limited by your resources, perhaps. Now, the digital solutions that are in the market right now, which we are pursuing actively, they will help us address all of this. The management has already made a very strong commitment. Now, we need to use this, and we'll address all these problems. The HSE control, the automation analytic platforms that we'll have, it will be having integrated platform. The ignorance part will be properly taken care of. All of them will flow. Obviously, we have to put a lot of efforts in putting it in place. But once it is in place, even my new executives who join or the seasoned, we will take care of both ignorance and the negligence or careless parts. Everything that functions and flows will have, with the help of analytics and all the reporting and how the matters are escalated, convey so that the whole culture, whether you want to do it or whether on your own or whether in that case it will help you, or if you are deviant, then you will be checked. So these things can be taken care of with this process shifted video analytics, which I already described. Then operator rounds and inspections. When they go to the field, what they need to do, the convenient tools available to them, it increases productivity. I have a lot of labor issues, how much I can take out of them. Today, I'm using them for very minimum level of activities. Their ability to do work is much more, but I can't take them because they have only that much time and how much jobs they can take up. So with this, this tool will help us at a hand. They're having the reference. Everything is handy to them. It's like how we're having our mobiles now, and we didn't have mobiles a few years back. How our lives have changed and how it has become productive. I see that kind of an opportunity here. And we need to train our people also. People are these days are not responsive to the classroom sessions. Even if you take them in the field, it doesn't work. These gamified learning modules are excellent. And we also talked about this PID, different P&IDs, all those things will be eliminated. We have intelligent P&ID. This will have the 3D model of the plant, also the digital twins, all these things which we have discussed. These are the good solutions that we are examining so that we can bring about, it will be a giant stride and next step for our pursuit of this excellence in safety. And I hope this was useful for all of you. And thank you for your attention. And I would now leave the panel for the other panelists. Thank you.
It was very impressive presentation, and I congratulate you for a lot of safety initiatives which have been taken in your organization. You talked about various good practices. You talked about asset integrity inspection details. I was impressed with the various initiatives when you talked about the drone uses of UAVs for inspection of tall structures. And you have also recently procured, as you mentioned, water mist turbine generator. I saw one of the presentation. For large facilities, I think it would be good. Then closed loop sampling and other digital initiatives. So excellent presentation overall. Thank you so much. Friends, this reminds me, going back to my organization, I served GAIL for about 30 years. In 2013, we realized in GAIL that we had all kind of best of the processes which we felt. Most qualified and experienced workforce, best of the technologies, good management systems, but still incident and accident here and there happening. So we thought, as mornings one of the speakers was also mentioning, we thought we should get a third party perspective that where things are going wrong. Then we invited one of the foreign speaker, and we did a session with our board of directors, chairman and directors, about an hour session, and later with the respective EDs. During those discussions, it came out that probably we are lacking one area that is called behavioral based intervention. That needs to be introduced in the organization. So we did a detailed study, and we tried to find out where all such interventions are already done. And we could see around that, not in oil and gas industry, there were isolated cases, but in other industries, such initiatives were taken, like in the steel industry, and yes, some of the oil industry installation also. So we introduced that concept in the GAIL. We had a third-party agency to support us in this initiative, and we brought this behavior-based safety intervention in the organization, wherein we wrote the protocols, and we instituted a system, started from the GPUs, gas processing. Basically, we had three verticals. One is gas processing vertical, another is petrochemical, and third is the pipelines. So we thought one by one we will introduce it, but we will introduce across the organization so that each and every employee and stakeholder is little bit knowledge on the BBS. There are no gaps. And for doing that, we thought let us make a baseline study and see how people behave at work. In fact, you behave differently when you are at home, you behave differently when you are traveling, and your behavior sometimes changes when you are at the workplace. So it is necessary to capture, understand that how many people behave safely while at work and how many not. So we did a baseline study, and to our surprise, we found on an average about 65% safe behaviors only. That means 35% unsafe behavior could be noticed in that survey. That means it was a very important area to be addressed. We addressed that, and we gave through the contractor engaged, we did 1 day training for everybody to know how to make the safety observations. As Mr. Mittal was telling in the morning, that if you look at the pyramid, which talks about the fatal incident or serious accident, then the minor incident, then your first aid injury incidents, and then below that there is a near miss incidents. Below that is the unsafe conditions acts. So if you can address that, they will not be, going up. Near miss incident will not be there. Accident will certainly not be there. If you are able to capture those near unsafe acts and behaviors, acts and conditions. So generally in the audits we are capturing unsafe conditions. We are not capturing unsafe behaviors or unsafe acts, which also contribute towards the incident accidents. So quickly, the time is short, to let you know that over a period of about 3 years, we had run that intervention within the organization. And after 3 years, we could find, we did a survey again, that where we are now. So we could reach to a level of 90% safe behavior and rest unsafe. So that was quite satisfying journey. And in fact, during those time and last 4 years, we did not have a major accident. We did not have a fatality in the organization, which is spread all over the country. And we had also crossed 100 million man-hours accident-free, which is a large, huge number. So just wanted to share this initiative because all our professionals from industry are there. They would like to take clue from it. So